Hey everybody, Thomas Joseph here, and today we are tackling one of the most popular conundrums, and that is fudge. Now, a lot of you have asked, hey, my fudge, when I make it at home, it turns out really dry and brittle like this version I have here, or it's too soft and it's really difficult to cut. Well, today I'm going to share with you a few tricks and tips in making fudge at home, and I'm sure the next time you make it, you will have success. The first step in making fudge at home is to chop up your chocolate. Now, I'm using 3 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate here today, and it is really important if you're making this confection at home that you use a really high quality chocolate. So buy the best chocolate you can find, and we're really only using a little bit of it, 3 ounces to be exact. So, splurge. Go to the grocery store or your specialty shop and buy a really great quality chocolate. Now, I'm chopping this up into nice fine chunks, and whenever you're working with chocolate or you're melting chocolate, it's always best to cut the chocolate in nice, even, small pieces. All right, so chocolate is nice and fine here. I have 2 cups of granulated sugar, and I also have 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Now, this is the best quality cocoa powder we could find. It's Dutch process cocoa powder, meaning it's treated with an alkaline solution, and it's usually much darker in color. So in the end, your fudge will have this really, really rich color and also really great flavor to go along with it as well. So I'm gonna sift these 2 ingredients together just to break up any clumps that you might have in the sugar or the cocoa powder. And this recipe is really interesting because it does use cocoa powder. A lot of traditional fudge recipes really just rely on chocolate for the flavoring, but I find that the cocoa powder really does go that extra mile in adding a lot of really great richness and depth of flavor. And then this mixture is going into our sauce pot. So I have a nice tall sauce pot here on my burner. I'm gonna add the cocoa sugar mixture, 2/3 of a cup of whole milk right into the pot here. And I'm gonna turn this on a low heat and just mix these 3 ingredients together until the sugar has dissolved with the milk. And now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. And corn syrup is really great here in fudge making because it helps to prevent crystallization. So we're gonna cook this mixture together, and oftentimes when you have something that's so high in sugar that you're cooking down, you're boiling down, you run the risk of crystallization happening in the pot. So this corn syrup will kind of help in preventing it. One of the methods in helping to prevent that. In addition to the corn syrup, I'm also gonna add a little bit of butter. This is 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and this goes right into the pot. And last but not least, I'm gonna add the 3 ounces of chopped chocolate. Now, again, over a low heat, we're gonna melt this together until the chocolate is evenly combined with the rest of the ingredients, and that will take anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes. All right, so it's been a few minutes here, and the butter has completely melted. The chocolate pieces are melted as well, and the sugar, I can feel it with the spatula, is almost completely dissolved. And at this point, what I wanna do is I'm going to crank the heat up on this chocolate mixture, and I'm going to use a candy thermometer now to monitor the temperature of this mixture. So I really want this mixture to come up to 236 degrees, and I'm going to essentially boil this down, concentrating the mixture. And this is a necessary step here, guys, in creating a rich, decadent fudge that is not gonna be too soft. You need to make sure that you're achieving this high temperature of 236 degrees, and that will ensure that the fudge will set properly. While this is boiling, a few tips in making sure that this mixture doesn't really crystallize on you. You can, similar to how you would make a caramel, use a pastry brush and brush down the sides of the pan as it boils, and this will ensure that no sugar crystals are developing around the outside or the perimeter of the pan, and will give you a nice silken texture to your fudge. So this is gonna take a little bit of time here, guys, and while this is boiling, it's really helpful to have a nice ice bath on hand, because once this hits that temperature we're looking for, we wanna stop the cooking process. And I'm going to then take the pan and go right into this ice bath, and that will eliminate the temperature from increasing, or inhibit the temperature from increasing. We are almost at 236 degrees, which is the temperature we're looking for. Now I'm using two different thermometers here, and a good way to see if your thermometer is calibrated properly is to either stick it in some boiling water and it should reach 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or you could put it in a bucket of ice water and it should read 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a great way to check to see whether or not your thermometer is reading properly. So we are almost there, guys, with this temperature. We're at 235. We have 1 degree to go. And again, this is really an important step in making a fudge at home that's going to set properly. There we go, we're at 236. So I'm gonna turn this off and I'm going to place this pan right in my bowl of ice water here, again, just for a few seconds to stop the cooking process. So this fudge won't go any higher than 236 degrees. And now I'm gonna remove it from the ice bath, and we are going to let this chocolate mixture sit here at room temperature. We're gonna let this cool down to about 121 degrees. And you want, at this point, to leave it completely undisturbed. You don't wanna agitate this or stir it at all. And once it's cooled, we're gonna go through the process of giving it a vigorous stir to lighten and fluff up the fudge so that it has the texture that we all know and love. Now, fudge is really fantastic because you can add so many different things to it. You could add different flavorings to it. I'm gonna add some toasted walnuts today to my fudge, but you can use any type of nuts that you like. I would always encourage you to toast them before adding because they have even more flavor. You could add a little bit of vanilla. Some people like peppermint. You could add chocolate chips or chunks or peanut butter chips. It's really up to you. You can customize this in so many different ways. All right, guys, so our temperature has reached 121 degrees, so this has cooled off enough. I'm gonna remove the thermometer. So now at this point, I'm going to take a wooden spoon and stir this mixture continuously, vigorously, but not beating up the fudge mixture. And I'm gonna continue to stir this for 2 to 3 minutes until the nice shiny fudge becomes a little bit matte. And that's when you know that you're done stirring. And what this does is it creates that wonderful silky texture. It also kind of helps to kind of lighten and aerate the mixture a little bit. But if you do over stir this, if you go too far, and you'll notice the mixture will start to thicken as you stir it, what will happen is the mixture will get really grainy and coarse, and then in the end you'll end up with a grainy fudge. So this is the part where you really need to kind of take care, and sometimes it takes a little bit of practice, but if you use kind of the visual cues that we keep telling you about the shininess to that matte finish on the chocolate, you should have success. Okay guys, so it's been about 3 to 4 minutes here, and you can see that the chocolate mixture, it's gone from a really shiny, silky color to something that's a little bit more dull. It's not as glossy, and it's definitely more viscous. And you can kind of hear it too when you stir. It kind of slaps around the pan a little bit. And at this point, I'm going to add my walnuts. These are toasted walnuts that are broken into decent sized pieces, and I just want to stir this together until the walnuts are incorporated. Now, the one thing I just want to tell you to be careful of is that you shouldn't add anything into this mixture that's cold. Otherwise, that's going to shock the fudge, and you'll end up with something that is kind of grainy or coarse in texture. So now, this is ready. I'm going to pour it right into our lined pan. This is, again, buttered and lined with parchment. And I like to use the overhang on the parchment so that it helps you to get the fudge out of the pan easily. You can take an offset spatula and smooth out the fudge so you get it into all of the nice corners here so that it has a nice even shape to it. And then I like to cover this with plastic wrap. And this is gonna go into the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Now, alternatively, you could let this rest on the countertop until it's nice and set, but you can also just pop it into the fridge for a little bit until it's nice and firm, and we will be able to pop this out of the pan and cut it. So into the fridge. Okay guys, so this has been in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes and I popped it out of the pan. It's really easy to get out with that parchment overhang. And now you can cut this into whatever size pieces you're looking for. You could even, if you wanted to be fancy, cut these out using a cookie cutter into nice figural shapes. But today I think I'm just going to cut these into little squares. And if you're gonna cut these and gift them, or if you're going to present them, it's always nice to put them in little paper cups, just so that people don't get their hands too dirty. The great thing here, you guys, about this recipe is that it works if you follow those instructions. Remember to make sure that you're bringing your sugar and chocolate mixture up to 236 degrees, and that will help to make the fudge set nicely so it's easily sliceable. And then cooling it down without disturbing it to 121 degrees is key, and also stirring, but not stirring too much, and not going past that point where the mixture turns from a shiny, beautiful fudge to something that's a little bit more matte, and you will end up with fudge that is creamy, delicious, not grainy or dry or coarse. And there you go, guys. Classic fudge. If you're having problems with fudge, I encourage you to try this recipe. It really, really works. I promise you. And as always, if you have any kitchen conundrums, reach out to us using the hashtag Kitchen Conundrums. We love to see what you're doing, and we love to help you with whatever problems you might be having. Enjoy, guys. And as always, guys, click like and subscribe.